Okay, so this paper that came out, I think, just a few weeks ago, again in 2025, in Nature Sustainability, which is another franchise of Nature, talks about the Earth alignment principle for AI. It's basically repeating some of the things we said in terms of sustainability, energy use, water use that we have discussed at length, but also adds potential risks from AI in terms of social unrest. AI or tools that are being used, especially search tools, etc., have some biases. Dating tools, they tend to introduce some biases which may come from the data or from the coders, unfortunately, and so on. Human built systems will carry some human biases, right? And AI is supposed to learn from data, and if the data is biased, then obviously that happens as well. So access is always as an issue if you deploy AI at large scale through government, private sectors, and all the appliances and vehicles you buy, and so on and so forth. So this is emphasizing some holistic principles about making AI consistent with sustainability, social cohesion, they call it, trust. People have to trust AI, because if it takes a lot of data and does some mumbo jumbo with it and gives you some solutions that you are not comfortable with, then maybe you don't trust the AI, or you don't trust the system with your data, and so on and so forth. So at a time when the world must cut greenhouse gas emissions precipitously, artificial intelligence brings large opportunities and large risks. We talked about the opportunities in the previous podcasts. To address its uncertain environmental impact, we propose the Earth alignment principle to guide AI development and deployment towards planetary stability. So the new thing here is, we already talked about uncertain environmental impact and the kind of things we have to worry about in terms of energy, water, and so on. A key feature of technological advances is the Jevons paradox, I think that's how it's pronounced, which is basically a dynamic effect where efficiencies drive down production costs, leading to cheaper products, driving increased consumer demand. Okay, so you make something more efficient in its production and efficiency, and people feel better about buying them, because they may also become cheaper than even basically more than compensate for any gains you made in efficiency. This ultimately results in greater overall consumption, waste, and emissions. The paradox is relevant to AI development as well, but with potentially unprecedented implications just in terms of the scales at which it's penetrating everything. The unique and increasing capacity of AI for generalized problem solving, rapid learning, and autonomous adaptation suggests it could impact economic sectors at a scale and acceleration far beyond previous technological developments. Moreover, AI's potential to learn and improve itself sets it apart from previous technological shifts, possibly disrupting the process of scientific and technological inquiry. This could create a rapid feedback loop This could create a rapid feedback loop of innovation, production, and consumption, with profound implications for the Earth system itself. So I won't read all the ideas, but they define this Earth alignment principle, which essentially amounts to this here. The Earth alignment principle is differentiated from the principle of do no harm, or the precautionary principle, in that it actively seeks to leverage AI's capabilities to drive sustainability transformations across human activities while constraining development that impede this goal. In do no harm, first do no harm, from the medical sciences, for example, is that you go on with your lives, energy consumption, consuming the planet, the biodiversity losses, etc. Somewhere you have to follow the principle of do no harm, or the precautionary principle, where you say if you don't know what the impact of what you are doing is, then maybe you just don't want to do it if possible, and so on. Loss of biodiversity, etc., have to be part of this, not only just reducing emissions. Earth alignment, therefore, provides a unique safeguard against the such damages alongside other AI principles in that it specifically values the state of the biosphere. Earth alignment is not binary. AI systems will exist on a spectrum ranging from strong alignment to weak alignment or even strong misalignment. Here we outline 3 criteria for strong Earth alignment that must be met over the entire life cycle of the AI systems, their development, deployment, and use. AI systems should help to accelerate the transition to sustainable production and consumption in ways that respect planetary boundaries or at least do not obstruct these objectives. Planetary boundaries is that pie chart which shows nitrogen cycle, emissions, air pollution, biodiversity loss, forest loss, etc., and says there is safe operating space for each one of them, and when we exceed them, obviously we are in danger of sorts. AI systems should do all that. AI systems should be developed, deployed, and used in ways that ensure equitable access to AI tools for global sustainability and avoid concentrations of power, holistic principle, normative issues rather than strategic or analytic. AI systems should be developed, deployed, and used to support greater social cohesion, build trust, and provide access to reliable information for planetary stewardship, which is that we make sure everything stays within safe operating boundaries. So cohesion, social cohesion, you have an intuitive sense, but basically people are agreeing on things of importance like climate action, let's say. Okay, so achieving strong Earth alignment requires taking account of 3 criteria simultaneously. Criteria 1, sustainable consumption and production. So AI should support these goals, and we should stop anything that doesn't work with this criteria. Power and access, so that it's equitable. And third one, social cohesion and trust. Okay, there are details on each criteria. I will read briefly what they are. Criteria 1 on sustainable consumption and production. Strongly aligned AI development and deployment prioritizes innovation and deployment for rapid decarbonization and biosphere preservation and restoration. For example, in the energy sector, AI is already being used to support grid decarbonization and reliability through better forecasting. We are using AI to do early warnings and forecasts for energy to manage intermittency and production, supply, demand management, and so on. Efficiencies can be improved, but innovations must be viewed systematically and consider the Jevons paradox again. Autonomous vehicles, for example, may increase congestion due to empty trips and preferences for longer commutes than cars over public transportation. So there is always unintended consequences of technological prowess and ease of life, which is a classic Jevons paradox, right? Criteria 2, then, planetary stewardship is a collective action problem. As AI tools become increasingly powerful, economic and technological power will probably concentrate within wealthy nations with profound consequences for collective action challenges. So more equitable access to AI tools and checks on concentration of power are important criteria for Earth alignment as a principle. Is this going to catch up as another buzzword? We don't know, but planetary boundaries has become quite popular, and it's a globally integrated measure. It's not always easy to disaggregate, especially in terms of action. For example, if we have exceeded the nitrogen cycle, nitrogen pollution in terms of human impacts, and we have, let's say, exceeded the planetary boundary for nitrogen, it's a global average exceedance. How do we then go back and see who's doing what and what action can be taken? So implementation at global scale to disaggregate and take local actions is going to be very tricky. Okay, nonetheless, as AI tools become increasingly powerful, economic and technological power will probably concentrate within wealthy nations with profound consequences. Did I read the other one? Yes, I did. Profound consequences for collective action challenges. Research has shown that AI applications for achieving sustainable development goals are biased mainly towards issues relevant to nations where most AI researchers live. So they are beginning to maybe it's unintentional, but they are beginning to kind of usurp the power from the broader public or humanity at a global scale. So more equitable access to AI tools and checks on concentration of power are important criteria for alignment, as I already said. Criteria 3, planetary stewardship requires social cohesion to allow societies to take long-term decisions. Societies with higher social and political trust are better at reaching agreement on public good provisions and protection of global commons. Without strong governance, AI technologies can be weaponized to destabilize democracies and slow or reverse progress towards stewardship goals. Already deep fakes, fake news, manipulating people's choices in elections, etc., are working at global scale. Every country is doing it in various ways. So strongly aligned systems will support collaboration, spatial cohesion, and informed collective decision making for stewardship of Earth. So if equitable access is ensured, then only AI developers and rich countries don't have to worry about all the problems. Saving the world shouldn't become a rich people's problem or a luxury. Everybody should be able to participate and do their part while having, a quality of life as well. The three criteria then overlap with other ethical AI principles relating to issues around political power and social cohesion. However, there are important distinctions. Earth alignment prioritizes deep integration of environmental stewardship with socio-economic stability, and it recognizes that ecological sustainability is more challenging without social cohesion and trust in governance institutions. By adhering to these criteria and this integrated approach, we can address systemic risk and the paradox of AI's larger socio-economic impact. Obviously, they propose this principle and argue that this is better than what's been proposed so far. Right? How do we applying the Earth system principle? Then the goal of the principle is to guide innovation, use and deployment of AI. As such, it is relevant to three groups of actors: governments, international organizations, companies and investors. Nations and international bodies such as the UN should consider explicit categorization of AI systems or applications as high risk or unacceptable risk if technologies could foreseeably be a threat to the stability of the Earth system based on the criteria above. A second priority is to strategically direct investments in AI-driven research and innovation towards planetary stewardship, emphasizing open source initiatives and investments beyond the wealthiest nations. We discussed these points in the government's role in developing AI and deploying them. So this is talking about a broader perspective of global and Earth system Earth alignment principle. This needs to be coupled with the incentives for global AI tech transfer, including towards actors with modest resources such as municipalities to support initiatives like low-carbon urban planning or AI-related agricultural innovations. It should also include policies to ensure fair access to critical AI infrastructure such as cloud computing and data and prevent power concentrations. With the most powerful AI tools concentrated in wealthy nations, this will be challenging to achieve. Okay? Everybody has to be involved, of course, companies, organizations, and other entities, NGOs. Scaling out AI must not compromise absolute reduction in carbon and ecological footprints, which is, again, back to sustainability and stewardship. DeepSeek model indicate that recent advances, such as DeepSeek model, indicate that higher performance may be possible with more efficient algorithms and smaller infrastructure, although in the longer run, these efficiencies may boost demand as per Jevons paradox, so you keep coming back to that. Beyond metrics like greenhouse gas emissions and ecosystem degradation, risk assessment should evaluate whether AI systems foster social cohesion and trust. So if life becomes more and more convenient in terms of driving, flying, finding things, consuming things, but people just get divided, then that's not going to be very useful in the end. It shouldn't just be an economic competition to dominate AI-based technologies and selling them as opposed to actually sticking to sustainability and stewardship, right? So these could involve access to reliable, non-biased data and evaluating misinformation or manipulation through AI-driven platforms. It may require restricting or prohibiting algorithmic design in social media that actively harms social trust and feeds polarization. There is, there are many studies now saying that all that discussion and exciting animosity, acrimony on social media actually doesn't amount to much, that people are not that divided or there is not that much polarization and so on. But a lot of them tend to be focused on the US because the US has gone through some transformation in the last couple of election cycles, and it's unclear whether people are really fighting each other and divided, or are they just talking and not really hating each other, right? Investors and philanthropy should include Earth alignment as a criterion for AI investment. Finally, all actors will need incentives to share information and know-how across the North-South divide, global North, global South, obviously. The growth in power and ubiquity of AI systems creates an immense opportunity to accelerate action to stabilize the Earth system, but also carries unprecedented risks of destabilization. We believe that Earth alignment should be a foundation for an international framework to guide AI system development, deployment, and use in order to manage systemic risks in relationship to Earth system stability and stewardship. What do we mean by Earth system stability? We don't exactly define it, but this group from Europe also talks about tipping points and point of no return and so on, which are let me not say further. I have discussed those elsewhere. The definition of Earth alignment may evolve as AI technologies progress and their influence becomes more pervasive. So they have thrown out a new term, Earth alignment principle, which I'm sure they will use again, and maybe there will be others who will use it again as well. But it's been stated in many other ways already in terms of sustainability of AI, AI's role in sustainability and SDGs, AI's role in net zero transition and energy, and so on and so forth. Let's leave it here.